You know, so I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
This is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
You already know 50 Cent never misses a chance to keep his boot pressed down on French Montana's neck. That man stays strapped with a troll in the chamber, ready to fire the second French's name pops up on the blogs. But this time, it ain't just another one of 50's slick jabs. It cracked open a whole different conversation. Because folks are whispering that French Montana ain't just running from rap beefs and messy industry smoke. He's running into something even scarier, the glittering but dangerous gold-plated cage of Dubai royalty. On the surface, the headlines scream nothing but flex. French Montana engaged to Dubai princess worth $18 billion. To the casual fan, it looks like French finally bossed up, trading in Coke boy energy for international kingpin status. But dig deeper past the diamonds and desert skylines, and the picture gets murky real quick. Word on the street is, French's so-called escape plan ain't built on romance. It's built on survival. With Diddy still tangled in federal heat, and the feds allegedly gathering receipts on everyone too close to those infamous bad boy freak-offs, French linking up overseas looks less like a fairy tale love story, and more like a last-minute chess move to keep his head above water. French allegedly needed a backup plan, and Dubai just happened to sparkle like the perfect getaway. But here's the twist. Paradise always got shadows lurking. People who really know Dubai's underbelly will tell you straight, yeah, the towers scrape the sky, the whips got diamonds in the rims, and the cash feels endless. But some of those same royals been accused for years of having appetites so wild, Hollywood scandals look like kiddie shows in comparison. The whispers, they go back decades. Stories of princes collecting pretty boys, of Western celebs getting flown out for parties too twisted to even describe out loud. Those rumors didn't just pop up yesterday, they've been simmering under the surface, waiting for the right name to attach to. So when folks see French, a rapper known for chasing bags, throwing wild parties, and cozying up to powerful men whenever it meant a come up, suddenly walking arm in arm with a princess and locking into a $7 billion safety net, the math is adding up a little too perfectly. It's not that people can't picture him falling in love, it's that survival looks like the real prize here. And that's exactly why 50's shade cuts so deep. When he sneers that French got bought, he's not just clowning the engagement ring, he's planting the idea that French didn't trade up, he just swapped one master for another. He dipped out of Diddy's chaos only to land himself in a new game that might be just as dirty, still answering to powerful men with way too much money and way too little accountability. The irony cuts deep. French thought Dubai was his clean getaway, his golden escape hatch. But if even half the rumors about those princes are true, then he didn't dodge fire. He just stepped straight into a hotter stove. And here's the real difference. Feds eventually cut deals or move on when the spotlight fades. But royalty in Dubai, they don't play short games. They play for keeps, no questions asked. That's why French's so-called $7 billion escape plan looks less like freedom and more like another gilded cage locking behind him. Yeah, he may have bought himself some time, but the price tag on that time might be his soul. Now rewind, because you can't unpack French's Dubai run without first remembering how he even ended up in the bad boy machine to begin with. French Montana didn't get stamped just off Pop That and a hot mixtape buzz. No, sis, the T around that signing always had a foul smell. And now that all these stories about Diddy's extracurriculars are exploding, fans are looking back at French's choice with sharper eyes than ever. Here's what folks forget. French wasn't some desperate kid from the Bronx begging for a seat at the table. He had options. Rock Nation was circling. Rick Ross and MMG showed heavy interest. Even Kanye's camp was sniffing around. And yet, out of all the tables laid out, French chose to pull up a chair at Diddy's of all places. Why? Why would a man with multiple golden doors walk straight into the one room already infamous for shady contracts, backroom favors, and those unspoken extras everybody in the industry whispered about? That deal allegedly had nothing to do with just music. Because Bad Boy wasn't just a label, it was a whole lifestyle. And for certain artists, that lifestyle was the real currency. The whispers said Diddy didn't just cut French a check, he opened the gates to the parties, the women, the freak-offs, and those, if you play nice, you'll get rewarded type of situations. And fans been giving French the side eye ever since. First off, French openly admitted he took less upfront money than what Ross or Jay were offering, yet he still chose Puff. That alone had people suspicious. Then add on the fact that every time French was spotted stumbling out of one of those infamous villas, looking half dead with shades barely holding on, the internet caught it instantly. Folks dragged up clips and photos from 2016 through 2019 showing French looking worn out. And the dates always seem to line up with those wild weekends where Puff was celebrating him. The story only got messier after Diddy's arrest in 2024, when producers and old associates started spilling about what it really took to secure a bad boy deal. One producer even claimed Diddy blackballed him after he refused to take part in a freak-off. So of course, when people look back at French's quick come-up, the whispers got louder. Oh, so you stayed and took that deal? We know what that means. Now, is there a hard receipt with French's name on it? Number. But the circumstantial tea is piping hot. You got Diddy gifting French his own Ciroc French vanilla flavor the morning after they were allegedly together all night. You got that viral birthday video where Diddy's in a robe, French shirtless, both of them looking way too comfortable. And you got French himself saying he wanted the big bag, and Puff was the only one bold enough to hand it over, strings attached or not. To the streets, it looked like just another label signing. But behind the curtain, it looked like a man willing to pay a personal price for career elevation. And that's exactly why people now believe he's playing the same game in Dubai. Once you show the world you'll trade dignity for opportunity, folks assume you'll do it again, just with a bigger bag and a brand new master. And child, this is where the rabbit hole gets deep. Mid-2024, French Montana suddenly pops up at Paris Fashion Week. He wasn't just flexing a fresh fit, he was allegedly showing off a fiancé. And not just any fiancé, Chiara, a princess tied directly to one of Dubai's ruling families. Baby, that ain't no regular Bronx love story. That's a whole chessboard power move. Look at the timing. Around that very moment, the feds were stacking their evidence mountain on Diddy. Freak tapes, trafficking whispers, shady money laundering angles. The works. And anybody in Diddy's circle instantly turned radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even casual friends were getting subpoenaed or pressed by investigators. And French, he wasn't some side character. For years, he was practically Diddy's shadow. The birthday trips, the Ciroc endorsements, the constant cosigns. French was glued to Puff's hip. So of course, if prosecutors wanted to make their case airtight, French's name was bound to surface. And what does he do? He doesn't just quietly step back. No, he packs his bags, flies across the world, and ties himself to one of the wealthiest, most untouchable families in the Middle East. That ain't no accident. That's survival dressed up as romance. According to reports, the Shaka's family is sitting on over $18 billion. That's not rap money, that's generational oil money. The kind of fortune where dropping $7 billion doesn't even make them blink. And when you marry into that type of wealth, you don't just get access to the bag, you get protection, new status, and residency in a country that does not play when it comes to outsiders trying to dig through their business. The streets are saying loud and clear, French ain't in love, he's in survival mode. They point at how fast the engagement moved, how perfectly it lined up with the legal heat back in the States, and how French suddenly spends more time in Dubai's palaces than in New York or LA. To his fans, it looks like a whirlwind love story. To his critics, it looks like a desperate escape plan wrapped up in Cartier rings and wedding vows. And the optics keep fueling the debate. Every time French posts up with his princess, he looks cleaner, sharper, almost like a rebirth. But the comments stay ruthless. Boy, you traded in Diddy for Dubai, some say. Others even harsher. Better hope them sheiks don't treat you the same way Puff did. Because here's the gag. French thinks he leveled up by running to Dubai. But people who study how Middle Eastern royals flex power say it plain. Sometimes you don't escape the fire at all. You just step into a hotter one with way bigger flames and no way out.
What I actually learned, a friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know, like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2-minute noodle.
Here's the part French probably don't want to hear. Running from Uncle Sam to the UAE don't always spell freedom. Sometimes it just means you signed yourself into a brand new kind of contract. Yeah, Dubai shines with Lambos, glass towers, and pet tigers lounging on yachts. But behind the gloss, the whisper's been ugly for years. Influencers fly out wide-eyed, chasing that tax-free glam life, only to sneak back home later spilling tea about palace parties where men and women alike were treated like props. Word is, some royals don't even view outsiders as people. They see them as playthings. Now picture French Montana standing next to Sheikh Amara's family's $18 billion fortune. Compared to them, he ain't rich, he's ornamental. And the wild part, he's got no political power, no leverage in their world. Sheikh Amara is the daughter of one of the most powerful autocrats of the modern era. French is just a famous foreign rapper to add sparkle, not someone who can set rules. If they decide he's just another accessory he can't push back, he can only smile for the cameras. And the internet's already clocking it. Folks are saying this move don't look like French escaping Diddy. It looks like him upgrading to new handlers. Before, it was freak-offs in Miami mansions. Now it's private villas in Dubai. The setting's richer, the palaces are bigger, but the power dynamic, same script, different cast, and the family French just tied himself to, trust, they're no strangers to global scandal and scrutiny either. Remember when Sheikh Amara's viral Insta-divorce shook the world back in 2024? With just 3 words, I divorce you, she dumped her husband in front of millions. In royal circles, that kind of public defiance was unheard of. Admirable, absolutely. But it also showed just how messy and unpredictable royal life really gets when the cameras fade. And that's just one chapter. Her relatives have been tangled in drama for years. Princess Latifah's desperate escape attempt shut down before she could breathe freedom. Princess Shamsa's alleged abduction, another scandal pinned on the same man who rules Dubai with an iron grip. That man, the autocrat himself, French's brand new father-in-law. Now suddenly, the fairy tale sheen around French's engagement looks cracked wide open. Because when power that heavy decides to move against you, freedom ain't promised, not even for a global rap star. That's why the internet keeps calling this French's $7 billion escape plan. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. Marry into obscene wealth, lock down a permanent residency, and hide beneath the shield of royal power if the feds come knocking. On paper, genius. Socially, baby, it feels like deja vu. For years, folks clowned French as Diddy's boy toy. Remember the shirtless birthday serenades, the Cyrock rewards, the cozy dinners that always looked too personal? Now the gossip says he didn't just swap Puff for peace. He swapped one sugar daddy for an entire dynasty of sugar power. Habibis. The irony cuts deep. Hip-hop sold us French Montana as the underdog hustler. Moroccan grit, Bronx hustle, Coke Boys pride. But Dubai royalty ain't like Bad Boy Records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them, and you definitely don't outlive your usefulness if even a shred of those whispers are true. French didn't break free from a velvet leash. He just strapped himself into a golden cage. So sure, he dipped out of hot water in the States, but in Dubai, baby, he might be sitting right on the stove. Now here's the gag. Through all this chaos, the loudest voice dragging French is none other than 50 Cent. But sit with that for a second. What if 50 ain't just clowning? What if underneath the trolling, he's really trying to warn him? You know how 50 got that big brother energy. He'll roast you, call you broke, but deep down still want you to win. He's been shading French for years, clowning him as washed, calling him Diddy's leftover. But maybe, just maybe, he sees the trap French is walking straight into. A trap that doesn't look like chains, but still reeks of those velvet cages people whisper about in Dubai. But flip it. What if this ain't a trap for French at all? What if we're the ones misreading it? From our angle, it looks like he sold his soul for protection. But from his angle, this might be the dream. Some chase freedom, others chase comfort. And French might not see himself as locked away at all. He might see himself as the chosen one. The Bronx kid who hustled mixtapes in the streets and somehow upgraded to gold-plated security, marble palaces, and endless AC. We might call it hell. But for him, it could feel like heaven with a driver on call and royal power keeping the wolves away. And that's why 50's jabs cut so sharp, because deep down they're laced with truth. 50 built his entire empire on independence, on owning his name, on flipping street power into boardroom dominance. He's the blueprint for self-made. French, on the other hand, might have flipped survival into straight-up servitude. But here's the million-dollar question. Who's really winning? The man still fighting for respect in rap circles, still having to remind folks of his legacy? Or the man tucked away behind palace gates, sipping tea, scandal-proof, untouchable, and sitting on what looks like $7 billion worth of protection insurance? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the paradox French Montana now lives in. To us, he looks like property, an accessory dressed up in royal clothes. But to him, he might feel like he finally made it. In his mind, he ain't trapped, he's crowned. And maybe that's the biggest twist of all. 50 Cent might keep dragging him in public, throwing shade every chance he gets. But French Montana, he might just be smiling in private, thinking this was the master plan all along. At the end of the day, this ain't just a love story, it's a cautionary tale dressed in gold. French Montana might call it leveling up, but the streets are split. Some see survival, others see surrender. Did he run from Diddy's chaos into a dynasty cage, or did he outsmart everybody and secure himself a permanent shield? That's the paradox. Property to some, royalty to himself. And through it all, 50 Cent won't let the jokes rest, clowning French like only he can. But behind the trolling, maybe 50's message is clear. Play with power long enough, and you don't always get to pick the rules. This saga leaves one burning question. Did French Montana just make the slickest move of his career, or the most dangerous gamble of his life? Stick with BarzBuzz, where the streets meet the truth. We'll keep dragging the receipts out the vault and breaking down the stories the industry don't want told.